Hope for tomorrow, good enough today. Oh yeah, hope for tomorrow, good enough today.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Good Enough Today, the podcast where we tell stories from people who are living authentically, even when life gets tough. I'm your host, Cheremma Lee, and welcome to another episode of Good Enough Tonight with me and my nephew, Jadan. Hey, Jody.
Guys.
All right, so this time for Good Enough Tonight, we kind of want to relax the tone a little bit. And Jadan and I first, P-E-M. How you feeling today?
Okay, physically, I'm gonna say like, not gonna lie, physically I'm about a 6. Mentally, I'll go with maybe a 5.5, and then emotionally, I'm like a 7. Cool on emotions. I think right now, well, let me get into how
P-E-M.
PEMs. So, how are you feeling with your PEM?
My PEM today. Physically, man, okay. Probably, if I'm being honest, I'm probably about 4 today.
Okay.
Probably about 4 physically. Emotionally, I'd say a 5.
Okay.
And then mentally, man, it depends on the second you ask me, but right at the moment, I go to 5. So I'm tracking lower right now than I am as usually. Now, go back to you. You were about to say something.
Well, I was going to say, so I think part of the reasons why I'm physically and mentally where I'm at are kind of intertwined a little bit. Really, I'm not going to lie, it's like on my little gym journey. So part of it's like getting over the physical aches and pains, just trying to get into like stretching more, taking care of myself. Staying hydrated has been a big thing that I've struggled with. And then mentally, it really just like, I don't know, I'm not like mentally at a low, but I just kind of feel like I'm getting through really like my organization period right now, my week, I guess you could say. I work on the weekends. So for me, like Tuesday through Thursday is really where I'm like, all right, need to get everything else done outside of that. So right now I'm just kind of like, planning, trying to get organized, but not too bad. Not too bad. How about you?
So physically, man, I just feel like trash right now. We're trying to figure out all the stuff with being sick, feeling well. Some days I feel great, and then I try to like take my energy and kind of use it sparingly, but it doesn't really work like that, right? You can't just like, well, I'm gonna use a little bit of energy today, and then it's gonna be some for tomorrow because tomorrow just there might not be any.
Right.
So trying to navigate that right now is a little bit frustrating. So that's why physically it's a little rough. And then dealing with that emotionally is like, okay, we feel good one time, you don't feel good. So trying to navigate what that looks like, it can be a little tough. And so emotionally, it'll be like, yay, and then no, and then yay. So you're on an emotional roller coaster all the time.
I have a question about that.
Okay.
So, one thing I've kind of, for those who don't know me, I've always been kind of like, what's the word, an insomniac? I guess when you don't sleep very well. So I've always kind of struggled with sleep, even from when I was like a child till now. I've gotten a little bit better, but it's still something that I'm like working towards being more consistent with. Do you feel like your rest obviously plays a part into your energy levels and your performance?
Absolutely.
Would you say that because your physical, I guess, standard right now, it's kind of fluctuated a little bit. Would you say that your rest has changed at all?
Absolutely. There's a direct correlation with me not sleeping as well and not feeling as well. And then you try to get more sleep, but like for a while, I was waking up from like 1 a.m. Like I go to sleep at 10 and wake up at 1 and then be awake for like 4 hours and then fall asleep right before it's time for me to get up. Right.
I kind of have that same situation happening to me right now, except because I'm still on like that overnight schedule. I'll go to sleep maybe at like midnight, wake up at like 6 in the morning, and I'll be up till almost 9 or 10. And then I'm like, should I even go back?
See, I told you what you wanted. Just don't listen. I try to tell you, you got to flip your schedule and you got to kind of stay on that. Yeah. This is what that wisdom and experience, you're just going to have to like.
It's like whenever I got to call these businesses during the week, it's like they're working 8 to 5.
That's true. If they're awake 8 to 5, when you wake up at 2, you still have 3 hours, right? Or you could wake up at 1 and you would still have the time to do that. So I would suggest that you wake up around 1. Okay. Or at least a couple, you know what I mean, to give your body some continuity. Without the continuity, your body is, and then it'll start to impact your emotions and your mental state. I say all that like I have this perfected, but I do know that it helps you try to keep your body on a schedule, and it will at least know when it's supposed to do what. Right now, your body don't know what to do when.
Right.
So it makes it much, much more difficult for you.
That's definitely.
But I think that's a good question though, about how your physical state, your sleep, and the things that you're doing. How do you stay in a positive mindset when you don't feel that positive?
Mm-hmm.
And so tonight's topic was really about, we're going to talk about not feeling good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you work through the negativity of not feeling good enough? Because people see it and they're like, oh, you're so positive. And I'm like, yeah.
But that's like a constant battle that people never understand.
Right. You have to, like, I don't wake up and just like automatically I'm positive.
Right.
It's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that sometimes we don't recognize that that's a choice. So just kind of going through what it feels like to choose.
Okay.
Right. So when we think about can you give an example of when you don't feel good enough?
Yeah, honestly, shoot, if I'm being honest, every time I go to the gym, I don't feel good enough. And not because of the traditional, just like I get caught up in comparison between myself and others. I think it's more so because I'm just so stuck on comparing myself to what I think I should be at, right? Mm-hmm. And just being my biggest critic. I've kind of been on like an upward, downward journey as far as like my fitness. Like at one point, I felt like I was like dialed like all the way locked in, more so when I was in college. And then since then, kind of taking a step back from, okay, well, fitness isn't necessarily going to be what pays my bills, right? Let me focus on other entities of just expression in life and whatnot. So now I'm trying to get back into it, and not just as out of like an aesthetic goal or, just purely to, be the strongest man in the room, but really just be, able to perform hard. So I think for me, every time I go to the gym, that's like an internal battle. It's just thinking like, okay, I might not be pushing the same weight I was pushing a year and a half ago, right? Or maybe, I'm not going to hit a PR today, but when I'm showing up, I'm giving myself what I had today. And you really just got to work with what you got. So yeah, I say every time I worked out, it's like a prime example for sure.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I have the I'm not good enough, and I want to make sure I'm clear on it. But anytime I'm doing this podcast, because it's like so new. I mean, we've got quite a few episodes going, and I've been doing it since July at this point, right? And it's like I still don't feel like I have a grasp on what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. You like, people are like, no, you have some good episodes, and I appreciate that. But for the standard, I'm like, I want to have a show that people can look at and they can listen to and they can gain some insight from. I want to give that to them and also create this community, right? And have the merchandise ready and have these things so that people can feel well about it. And then I see it and I'm like, it's not quite there yet.
Honestly, it's kind of surprising for me to hear you say that, because even though it's a very huge show, I'd say like, on camera, at least, you seem like you have a really good grasp of this yourself, like just being well aware of where you're at. And I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of, not just content creators, but even creatives in general probably struggle with, is just like that sense of self and that, that awareness stage, because it's like, okay, well, I know I have ideas that like will be hit, but it's like, what's that middle ground that I'm not seeing right now?
So, and that's why it's hard to explain, like, because it's like, yes, I'm doing it. I'm doing the parts that I know, and I'm going to show up and I'm going to give what I have that day. But then I'm like, this isn't exactly what I want to give. I want to give the world, right? And right now I'm giving the town. You know what I mean? And so, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay.
You got to start somewhere.
And that's the part that you struggle with, right? Or I struggle with is, all right, I want it to look like this. I want my production. I want the videos to look good. I want transitions. I'm still trying to
pop it on camera.
Yeah, like how people edit it into the transition. The transitions look smooth, right? And then do all these things. And then, okay, so that versus the fact that, remember, I just talked about the energy. So sometimes I have all the energy. Sometimes I don't. And it's like when I have the energy, I'm like, yeah, good enough today. Boom, boom, boom. Right. And of course, I have a lot of other things outside of good enough today going on. But at the same time, it's like, all right, I need to be able to elevate each time. So in each episode, I want something to be like, I learned how to transition in this one and turn it on, but my ins and the outs don't look like I see other people's. I'm like, how would they do that?
And one thing I'll tell you is, like, I'm sure you've heard this a million times already, but honestly, like, especially, but when I think you look at like the editing side, like the behind the scenes of videography, it really is a process. Like, and I have friends that have old photography businesses who have been making YouTube videos. Like they branched off into doing music, other things. Like they can record, shoot anything you could think of, and they'll tell you it's a process. Like, you know, even if you're just kind of starting off on CapCut, just trying to build up the little skills, that's like, it's going to take time. And it's so,
I like that.
But you know, because I just was thinking like, nah, like you really could just be telling me like, just show me what that little button you just did.
Yeah. But then you got to remember the button, right? The thing is, it's like, there are a lot of things in life where I'm already good at it, right? And so you're starting something new, and then it's like
you're like
I'm like in kindergarten.
Yeah.
I'm in kindergarten, and when you're in kindergarten, you have all these questions. You're trying to learn, you're trying to figure it out, and you're drawing messy, right?
Everything's so big.
Yeah,
like, what's this?
Exactly. So going through that process is a tough time every time. But then I'm like, okay, at least what I put out was the best that I could do right then. And that's good enough. But I think that when people see it, when you hear it, yes, I have a good grasp on like myself. I'm good at the person.
Yeah.
But that is kind of naturally who I am, right? And so I'm like, okay. And there are some things that I realize I've been saying right a lot in the interviews. So I'm like, And of course, I have to listen to myself quite a bit when I'm editing some of these things. Shout out to Shelly Media, though, for doing all of my edits for the RSS feed and on the podcast side for audio, because they make me sound great. And they don't really do the video, so the video is not the same quality.
Like, listen, if you're watching it, just
listen to the audio.
You know what I mean? Like,
There's a bit of a difference.
It's just slightly different when we grow up. It's like one day,
there's growth. There's growth in this.
But you to that though, it's like if you look at any other like top platform, if we're talking about specifically like the podcast industry, right? One, the podcast industry is still relatively new. When you look at all forms of, creative expression that's like put on multimedia, like it's maybe 10 or so years old, like less than 20 years old if you think about it, right? And if you look at we'll just say the top 10 podcasts between, Spotify, wherever people listen to podcasts, right? Everything, right? All of the top 5 to 10 platforms had been around, for quite a bit of that time out of the 10-year podcasting. So it's not like these people are new to it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you go look at such and such's YouTube page, you'll find out, oh, dang, they were making videos 3, 4, 5, 6, even, plus years ago. So it's like everyone had to start in that, that little garage video or camera looked a little junky.
Yeah.
Like, is that recording something? Like, but it really is a process. Like,
it absolutely is.
So I think you're doing great to say that.
I appreciate that. I think that that's one of the things where as you're growing in something that people like, I think that it comes off as me having it all together, right? I don't be knowing what I'm doing most of the time. Like we out here trying to figure it out. Every time we do this camera, it's a different way. Like it's never the same. Like I don't have a point. So like, hey, this makes the lighting do this. Right now we got shadows. I didn't even remember. I never remember what the lighting, the backlight.
It's real. It's
It's again. So I think that it's very, very important for people to understand that even for me, for this in this realm, and even sometimes when I'm doing new things, there is a sense of like, I don't know what I'm doing. And it's not an imposter syndrome, like I don't belong here.
No, right.
It's more so like, man, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm figuring it out as I go. And
there's some appreciation that needs to be had or said for that, at least, though, because I mean, nowadays you kind of have to teeter that line between, right, you want to be polished, you want to look, professional, you want your things to look clean, like you said, especially the edits, the film, all that stuff, right? You want it to look good, feel good, but then you don't want it to come across as, right, like disingenuous. I think people nowadays, like the new slang is like industry playing, right? Like people just don't want to see perfection, right? But they want to see somebody who's putting in time and effort where they can tell it's from an authentic place.
Right.
There's definitely some appreciation that needs to be had for even just like you said, your ability to showcase that you don't know it all, right? Or that you don't have it all figured out. And I feel like when you look at particularly your niche, which I would say is like the self-development, right? Like self-betterment type of audience, there's a lot of people that portray that quote unquote perfection or that like, you know what I mean? Like, I might have started off 5-10 years ago homeless, but I did all this and now I'm here. So now you have to take this route. And it's, some people probably could have whatever, but it's like, you don't need to be perfect. You don't
We don't want that.
figure it out.
And with the
But-
using all these words, and I'm like,
You don't even
I'm gonna have to go look at that one.
just keeping it for those who don't know what like red pill content is. It's sort of like that, that male dominant, very, I won't even say hyper masculine, but just that like, that masculine mindset of like, even if you don't want to do it, figure it out, conquer it,
it's like,
whatever.
would you say toxic masculine, but not white? Or just like,
I'll say this. I think that initially red pill content was meant to be more just sort of motivating and more.
what that's from the Matrix?
Yeah.
Okay,
And so we don't got to talk about it.
okay.
I watched it when I was a kid. So
Okay.
like the DVD
Okay.
had came out, so it was like, I feel like red pill content was initially like this, like I said, motivational sort of disciplinary form of content where men were really just glorified being men, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And then it kind of spurred to, these guys who are, controversially multimillionaires. Some are, maybe not so wealthy, whatever the case is, but it spawned into something else where it's like, if you're not living this way, you're doing it the wrong way.
Oh, like, okay, I see you.
So yeah. So there's,
I got it now.
Right.
We put it together now.
and so there's a lot of that saturated in your space of self-development. Like I said,
Okay, we're
which that be priority. So it's like there's a lot of toxic masculinity within it to answer your question. But I think that's why it's so self-note. And honestly, I think it really only matters time before people like you, and yourself included, get highlighted more and more, just as you stay consistent and continue to build your platform. Because honestly, like there's not many people who will sit here in front of a camera, in front of potentially the whole world, and be like, I really don't know what, like, this is all just here. It's gonna be like, we think we know a little bit, but we don't have all. It's like,
have it together. Like every in the other part of it is like every part of it is one a learning experience. And people let me be clear. People will say, Cheremma, let people help you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I do try to let people help me. But then, for instance, I'm trying to do the merchandise, right? So I'm like, okay, let me get on here, find somebody who can design the merchandise for me. So all I have to do is put it on a platform, and then the platform will do direct to ship to the consumers, right? So I don't have to keep any inventory. I went on there, find somebody, the whole process. Like, if it could go wrong, it went wrong. And now I'm back at step one where I'm like, how do I move this dot? I put it in the middle.
So I have that.
Yeah. And then good enough today needs to be here. They're supposed to go on the left side or the right side, and try to figure that out.
Yeah.
So I become like every portion of the company.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, I'm not afraid to ask for help. I'm just not asking for help in the right places, but that's part of the growth process too. And I think that I'm trying to do that. And I get that I'm at the process where I'm in kindergarten.
Yeah.
It just sucks to be in kindergarten when you feel like you have a good grasp of things outside of kindergarten.
Right.
And I think that that's part of the journey. But I think it's important for everyone to understand that I think there's something every day where it's just like, okay, I have to give, all I have to give today is 20%, and I'm going to give 100% of that 20%. And let's pause for a second. And maybe 1% of that 20% needs to go towards yourself. I don't actually practice that a lot of the time, about figuring out, I'm going to give 20%, I'm going to give 100% of that 20% to my regular job, to Unabridged, to Good Enough Today, to my family, to my friends. And then I'm going to get the little penance that's left over, right?
Right.
And it's going to be like, I got crumbs. I got crumbs. And I'm like, okay, now I'll rest. But that's when I'm like exhausted and falling.
Like, you got a massage appointment that you can't drive.
I go exactly like, how am I going to get there? I actually don't feel like it. And I think that it's really important to recognize I'm preaching right now, but I do not have a good grasp on this just yet. So I'm working on trying to make sure that at least a few percentage points of that 20% or whatever I have to give actually comes to ourselves. And I think that kind of goes back to, we talked about Isaac and I having a conversation. I know we're not doing recaps, but I want to highlight what he said. Are you loving yourself like you love other people?
Yeah. And that's super, super profound, because I'm not gonna lie. I don't.
like if you were telling me all of this, I would do the same thing that you just did to me. But, oh, you have this, you have this.
Yeah.
No. And then if you were like, I don't have anything left, I'd be like, man, you got to take some time for yourself, and you got to do this, and you want me to help you. But for myself, I'm not saying those things to myself like, hey, you got to take some time for yourself. I'm going to help myself by saying, I'm going to take a moment. Because I'll tell you, take a moment. Don't make me come over there.
Right.
But I'm not doing it for me. So can I love myself in that way so that when I say that I'm good enough today, that portions of that is really me giving back to myself so that I can maybe matriculate into first grade.
Right. I wonder why that is. Like, I wonder why people hold, I guess, maybe more conviction towards others than themselves. I wonder if that's like I don't know what that is. Like,
I wonder if it's everyone though. I don't know if it's because we're service oriented as a family. Like all of our lives, we've been trained, and not in a bad way, but we give to others. Taught to give and to help and to be there for each other and for other people. But what we haven't really seen is how do you show up for yourself in that way so that you can give in a way that's healthy to other people.
Right.
And so absolutely. And so that's one of those things because even with giving to Good Enough Today, right? Like, okay, I want to give this so that I can have it for other people. But it's also like, you got to be around.
Right.
In order, you just go, you go die here. What you doing? You just
go fall apart in the street.
On the street, you still not going to have an episode ready. So
I was right here.
And then here we are. So I think that trying to navigate how do you love yourself and then also build and grow and then go through that process where you really don't know. So there's just so many things that are coming down on you mentally that you have to overcome. And I think that for me, what has been helpful in making me be more positive than negative is having gratitude. Like, I used to think people lied about that. I don't know that I thought they were lying. I just thought they were overplaying, right?
Like just giving the politically correct.
Then they're like, if you go, I have this gratitude practice, I'm going to do this and then do this, and it's going to make you feel better. Be thankful. And then, I started to like, well, let me see if they're lying.
Yeah.
Let me see what these people are talking about. Because some people lie, you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know. I'm naturally skeptical.
I mean, you got to see if it really works, though.
And so when you talk about gratitude, I think that helps you appreciate more. Like, I'm so grateful that I have a family that's supportive. I'm grateful that, like, I'm able to go to work. Yeah. Sometimes it's just gratitude for if I'm in pain, I can walk.
Amen.
Like I can see. Or, like, there's so many things that you become so much more great. Like, the gratitude just kind of starts to envelop you. And so when you start to have the negative thoughts of like, I am not doing enough for this.
Yeah.
It's also the other things that creep in is like, you have this thing around you, this feeling of like, I can feel the air on my arm and I can feel this and I'm able to move in this way. And then I can take my own pill and say, okay, I'm good enough. You got a whole platform on Good Enough Today. How you go be up here like, you got to get it together.
Like off camera, you like,
yes. It's like you got to live it if you're going to be there. You're going to come on here and tell people they're good enough and that you can stay home before tomorrow and Good Enough Today. You're like, nah.
You don't know
but all it's gone. So I think that's kind of where it is very, very important to just like, think about the small things in life, like my nephews. So like, my nephew, you gotta read like that's something where I could look at you guys and be like, all right, cool. Like the rest of it,
something else.
It's something else, and I get it when it looks like there's nothing else, especially like So you're what are you 21?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're 21. What was I doing when I was 21? I was an undergrad,
babysitting you, maybe
probably babysitting you. In undergrad, trying to figure it out, not knowing what I'm going to have, what I'm going to do. And then in those moments, you can feel a lot of like not good enough because it's like you're trying to figure out your undergrad. You're trying to figure out, do I want to do this? I hate my parents. I don't want to do this. Like everybody thinks they know everything and they don't. Nobody's helping me.
You're like, I want a good career, but all that's out my lane.
Yeah, it's. First off, it's still late. Like, let's be clear.
Okay, we'll be honest now. It ain't never really fun.
And it's not really that fun. Like, there are things that I love about Good Enough Today.
Yeah.
And there are things that every job, there's not going to be something that you just love everything, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's part of it. But I think that as you grow, as you get it, but I think that sometimes it's much harder when there are more things than like, I have good enough today where I don't know what I'm doing. But I don't have my whole life where I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
And I think that sometimes we forget from generation to generation. And that's why it's kind of hard to take the lessons to heart, right? Because it's like so many things you don't know what you're doing, and you're out here an adult, but in kindergarten.
Yeah, literally.
Everything, right?
And funny you say that. I saw a quote that said, when you're 25, you're technically only 5 years old in adulthood. And I was like, that is kind of funny when you think about it, because like high school, college doesn't really teach you anything. I mean, it teaches you how to be employable, right? How to, find a job if you're looking to be in the typical job market. It teaches you those things, how to be a good employee, how to listen, how to follow directions, right? Maybe you take things seriously, how to be organized, right? Like you do get some things, but it doesn't teach you about the X's and O's of, okay, how do you find where you want to live? How do you, afford a house? How do you, budget, right? Like a lot of core principles that we just never learn about, things that are thrown away that are just at like 18, 19, 20.
You don't expect it to know.
Right. And now it's like by 21, it's like, if you're asking for help, some people might look at you like, dude, you ain't got yourself together. Like, you know what I mean? So it's definitely like, I think there is a lot of self-produced pressure that you put on yourself. There's also that sort of that expectation, right, that the world put on you. Like for me, at least, I'll say, for a long time, I just felt like because I was like that golden child in the family, like up until a year ago, I felt depressed. So it's like, hey, listen, brother, like the bloodline kind of falling on you. Like we're not pushing you, but you know what I mean? You the last straw right now. So
it's so interesting that you feel the pressure, because in my eyes, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because I never felt pressure really placed from other people. Like I'll say maybe it's from like one or two conversations where it's like, okay, well, if you're going to go to college, don't study something stupid. Like there was that conversation, but there was never the, okay, well, you have to, at 18, you're out the house. You got to have something figured out. Like there was never that expectation. But I think just because of knowing where, you guys came from, what the expectation was like on previous generations, it just kind of set this precedent of, y'all were first generation college students. I was like, all right, well, I kind of had to do X, Y, and Z. But at the end of the day, it's really just about figuring out what works for you and what you're willing to work for.
And that's so crazy because, I mean, my conversation to you, it's interesting how we take the conversations from other people, but even still our internal conversations
are very different. It's like you have to repeat some things that you've heard a million times to see yourself. And it's like,
because my conversation to you is like, you don't got to go to college, just figure it out, whatever it is, to find a resource to make sure you're going to be good. I just want you to be happy. I want you to be successful. And sometimes you won't be happy, but you'll be successful. And then sometimes you will be both, right? Like, let's figure it out. But in your mind, you're like, y'all, so you see what you're doing?
Right. I'm like, you telling me this, but like, I feel like people don't look happy over here. Yeah, I keep making money. It's fine. It's like, oh, what's up?
But I think that, like, that's because you don't remember when I was you.
Yeah.
Like when I was you, we were playing outside and doing things. And I think that that's the part that we kind of get lost in. But even still, I am you in the podcasting industry, right? Like I am you where I'm like, you telling me this, but you got the transition. Right. You got the music. Like how are we gonna make that?
Like you got a logo.
Yeah, you got the whole thing. Your merchandise looks good. Like what you know, and your website's all together. Like
I can see the images on my phone and
yes, at the same, and it transitions perfectly. Now you telling me that it just and I think that that's kind of when you're younger, you see other people doing things and we feel like they have it all together. And it's so crazy that I'm saying this because when I talk to my mentors, I'm always like, I want to be just like you. Like, and they're like, I still don't know.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah, I still don't know. You don't understand. So like, when do you learn? You know, like you just understand things a little bit more. You get more experience and things kind of work out for you. So I say that to you because even the internal pressure that I have for Good Enough Today, I know you have that just on life things, right?
Yeah.
Like, how am I going to figure this out? How am I going to do that? And I think it's just really a one step at a time situation. Like, I say this, I just got to put one foot in front of the other and move forward. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the foot is just like, we're just like leaning forward.
And one thing I had to remind myself too, even with that, like taking the next step, and that next step might be uncomfortable. Like, and they typically get more uncomfortable. Yeah. It's like, one thing I heard someone say recently was that life isn't about comfort, it's about growth.
Yeah.
And I thought about that. I was like, if I was worried about every single time I was comfortable or in the past when I was worried about being comfortable, right, it didn't really get me anywhere. Like, it just had me stuck in the same place of like that, that analysis paralysis, right? Where you're looking at the drawing board, you have all these X's and O's, right? You've created like 5 different business plans to create $1 million. Where it's like, which one do I start with? But at the end of the day, there's business owners that didn't, become millionaires till like their 7th, 8th business model. Like, there's a lot of failures that happen before the success. So that's you just got to take that.
And I think that's the important part is that like, as long as you're moving, that's literally, and like, right, literally it. And I think that moving in the literal sense, like moving your body, and then also figuratively, is just make a step. Like, I think that sometimes we see the whole pool. And it's like, but you just got to get in. Mm-hmm. Are you trying to swim a mile?
Yeah.
And all you have to do is the first step is get in the pool, or taking the first step. If you're afraid of water, go sit by the water.
Yeah.
Put your hand in the water.
Put your toes
in water, right? Or you're trying to run a mile and we see like, the doctor says, walk for 30 minutes, walk for 5. Don't even walk for 5. Don't put a time limit. Say, I'm going to walk to the corner and back every day. And the corner could be 10 steps. And that is your first step toward getting towards that. Because once you start doing that, you're like, I can do 15 steps.
Yeah.
And then some days you're going to be like, no, I can do 5. And that's okay. And that's when it has to be like that good enough feeling. And, we keep talking about our content and the behind the scenes and stuff that we're going to do. So I want you guys to know that it's coming. It's coming. I just got to feel a little bit better.
Over the way to go.
When that comes, then I'll feel a little better. And then you guys get some more behind the scenes of when I don't know how to edit these videos and what the shenanigans that Jaden and I get into. Because I think it's actually really cool for people to see who we are authentically when we are going through this process and trying to figure it out and trying to put this camera up.
I think nowadays that's what people really want, is that like that relationship piece. Like, even if people don't know you, right? Someone might have never met you, they're like, I feel like I know this woman. I feel like I resonate with her message. I feel where she's coming from, right? Yeah. That relatability piece. I think that's almost the driving force, I'd say, of businesses now, is that, that personality.
But, I think that, and that's the hard part for me, because I try to be an authentic person anyway, right? And I think that it's hard for me to brand the authenticity.
I know. And you really don't even like social media in the first place.
So I'm like, I want you guys to understand that being authentic and being yourself is actually pretty cool. And then seeing authentic people and understanding that there are other authentic people in the world. Right. Everybody's not out here being superficial, but it's very hard to present authenticity and then also have to sell yourself.
Yes.
Because it's like, hey guys, look at me, I'm being authentic.
Yeah, it's like, I want you guys to support my
yes.
But it definitely comes with it comes in the balance for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I think everyone has to know, like, right, everybody's got to eat. Like, you're not just doing this purely, to just take time and, just do it as a hobby, but it is something you're passionate about. So I think what it comes down to is also like reassuring where that investments go. You know what I mean? Like, telling the people that you're really investing not just your time, energy, and funds, but like the resources, right? Like, if people are pouring into you because they want to see, good enough to today grow, it's not just like, oh, now we see Cheremma pulling up in a Ferrari, getting up today and throwing it. It's like, we got the same bag.
Just gotta put it in there.
You got a green screen, but you got the Ferrari though.
That's the part where it's like, it's tough. It's like, I just want people to, one, feel comfortable being themselves, and understanding that, like, just being yourself is okay. Like, with the quirks, with the stuff. If you ask me about food, people really be like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they do like some.
Like, he start talking about Max, so they would hear it.
They're like, I'll run about that.
Like, something's on. So, I think that people seeing who you are, but I really think it's important for people to be comfortable showing up in their true skin and being authentic and understanding that people around you might not get that.
Yes.
But the people who do get it will get it. And then it can be something that drives you to the next step of success without it having you have it be a certain way.
Right.
Now, granted, like, there are some things that you can't do in some settings. So let's be clear. You can't just, if we were just on here using profanity the whole time, And there's something.
Okay, lot bias.
So I feel like there's something that people are like, oh, this is just me. But I think that's the growth part, right? Like, is it necessary for you to be able to get where you're going and do what you want to do? And what are you trying to do, right? Maybe you are the profanity-based thing, and that's what you're selling, and it'll resonate with somebody. But make it work for you and understand that there's some community there. One of the things that we're looking at comments that are coming in. So I want you guys to reach out to us. You can find us on Instagram and reach out to us, talk to us, DM us, and tell me what your good enough today moments are, because we want to showcase those on the podcast and give those out, especially with the holidays coming up, and making sure that people understand that they are good enough. And we're going to have the new year coming up soon.
Right.
So
a season of elevation, gratitude, all the above. So, I mean, we're going to be talking about it.
Yeah. So let's make sure that you guys are sharing and connecting. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, get on YouTube, get on
Instagram, repost.
Yes, repost, do what you can. And if you see something and you know how to do it and you can tell me how to do it easy, please give me the tip, because
y'all would be inside.
Yeah.
Like, I would be inside. Y'all don't know it. Y'all obviously it as a public, like,
and then they hold all the secrets, right? Like,
say, y'all know the sauce.
We don't keep the secrets
At all.
Like, let's come here.
Like, when I cook, everybody else.
Let's do it. Let's figure it out. So maybe you guys will see us doing some different things. Maybe we'll do a live taping of Good Enough Tonight. Yeah, we'll do that so you guys can kind of see how.
Basically, gonna be a B-roll. Hey, just know.
Yeah, because within the record, you never know what's gonna happen. There's things happening around here, so please understand that we're out here trying to be good enough for you guys, and still understand we're trying to be good enough for ourselves. So let's make a challenge to everybody. Let's do 2 to 3 things in the next 2 to 3 days to show that love yourself in the same way that you love other people. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about what you did. I got to ask for accountability.
Have like a follow-up test.
Yeah, how we got to hold ourselves accountable to that, so that we can do 2 to 3 things to show that we love ourselves in the way that we love other people, right? Mm-hmm. So let's make sure that we're doing that. And then what else we got for him? We got the Good Enough Today merchandise. It's coming, guys. I told you that I really we do have some merchandise. We have some merchandise here. Some things that are going, but I'm trying to get some more things going, some hoodies, some different types of shirts.
I can say Cheremma's really been working out. Like, I know y'all, I like to talk about this first the last 3 weeks. Then we gonna get it. It's gonna be winter
time. Yeah,
listen.
Everything summer and winter.
Right. It might not be on the Christmas list, but listen, you got that one cousin. You just gave her a little card. You didn't really do too much. It's coming. It's right. When January 15th hit, don't mark that date. Don't mark the date. But when January hit, y'all gonna hear something.
I gotta figure out how to put. Like, I got a couple of things going, so. It just takes so long.
Y'all gonna say the flips, don't even worry.
Just
know what else. But
I can't act funny once I get the stuff going, right? Once the merchandise goes out, if I start acting a little funny about the merchandise, I got it all. Like, let me shine my light.
Like, you're replying with a couple comments.
Yeah, like, well, if I got the merchandise on, and I be like, with my shades on the front.
Are you just buying everybody like? Don't drink that. You ain't been saying
that. Don't even touch me with my merchandise.
It look like, hold on.
Did you see that? Did you see that? Because it took me. It took me forever to do. I know.
You don't know what I did there.
If I act a little funny when some of these things come out, understand it is because I've been working hard so we can get these things come up for you guys. But please share with me your good enough moments, or the moments where you don't feel like that, because I love to hear them and encourage you guys just as much as everybody encourages me. So let's make sure that we are doing that for each other, building the community. We're gonna have Facebook group coming out too, so that people can convene there and chat with us and figure some things out there too. So there are things coming in. I appreciate everybody who listens, because I know that you're listening. I can see that you're listening, and I appreciate the feedback that you give me. So if there's any feedback that you have, please give it to me. Negative, don't be too harsh on me, but please give me constructive feedback. I really, really do appreciate that. Take that to heart, just like.
I got more thing there. I was gonna say, if you don't feel like sharing something publicly because you just like, I don't know, I see my little icon when I was like 4 years old on Instagram. Right. If you know a friend, or if you just know somebody in your life, we feel like to benefit from any of the conversations we have, any of the topics that we touch on, any just the real heart to heart moments, right? share it with them. Send it to them through messages, right? Like, it's at the end of the day, it's less about viewership and it's more about outreach. So any way that somebody can come across our content, or again, if you just feel like someone else needs to hear something, you feel like they would enjoy it, feel free to share. We're trying to build a community. We're not just saying this, like, we really do want, a family.
Absolutely. And if you have a topic that you want to not discuss, if you knew the scope of the topics that we usually discuss, send it to us and we'll see what.
I don't know if y'all were ready for it, but we're always going to do you days.
Get it for sure. But we want to appreciate all of you guys for tuning in to Good Enough Tonight and hitting up Good Enough Today and making sure that you guys get what you can and understand that even when life looks tough and you're in the kindergarten stage and you feel like you're not good enough, then you can stay hopeful for tomorrow, but understand you're absolutely good enough today.
Hopeful for tomorrow, good enough today. Oh yeah, hopeful for tomorrow, good enough today.